Yeah, it says ready to go live. Not yet. Okay, hey, here we go. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
It's Wednesday, and you know what that means? It's not Friday, which is when I thought we were going to be doing the next episode of this show.
I was kind of stoked that it was Friday. Like Wednesdays could just get a little busy midweek, but Fridays are kind of like, date night with the boys. So yeah. Well, and Annie, sorry.
Yes. Well, Annie, oh shoot, I was going to actually concoct some blue milk as a toast to her because she's not able to join us tonight. And we missed her birthday last week.
We did.
I felt like such a heel because I even made a note for myself. That's the mindset that this TV show put me into.
Mm-hmm.
But
when you say concoct blue milk, all of my brain went to was I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me? So, okay.
The answer is yes.
Yeah.
But no. So we are here. This is Obi-Watch Live, by the way. Every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Central. We here at the Kicking the Seat YouTube channel welcome back Earth's Mightiest Critics. We're not talking about comic book movies. We are talking about Star Wars, which is, it's geek fandom. It's all adjacent and all that good stuff. So, yeah, we're here. The caption or the title of this live stream is episode 2, but we're actually talking about episode 3 because Disney dropped the first 2 episodes on us last weekend. And for Star Wars Celebration. And now we're here to talk about 3, which dropped early this morning. So if you have not watched Obi-Wan Kenobi episode 3 or 1 and 2, this is your invitation to turn back and come back when you have seen it, because we are going to be talking. What are we going to be talking about, gang?
Those. No, over here, not me. Not me.
A lot of
spoilers. Yes.
All
right. So we're just going to launch into it. I'm Ian Simmons of Kicking the Seat. I've got Mike Crowley of YPA Reviews and 25 Years Later, and Don Shanahan of 25 Years Later and the Cinephile Hissy Fit Podcast. And Every Movie Has a Lesson. Elliott Serrano of MCU Review. We're all back. Elliott, we missed you last week, so I didn't get your full opinion on this auspicious start to a memorable and timeless series.
It's funny because I was sick all last week and I couldn't watch the live stream. I caught it afterwards on the YouTube channel. And so I was listening at my first question is, does anything make you folks happy? Anything?
I'm awesome. I'm happy.
I know, Don. I know.
Yeah.
But is anything?
Yeah, I'm happy.
I wondered the same thing.
Lukewarm about this episode.
I'm feeling great about this episode, honestly.
Okay.
Because I realized probably like 3/4 into the show, that the creators of the show don't care about Star Wars. So that gives me permission to not care either. So I'm just like kicking back and having a great time. I'm like,
oh man,
oh great. So continuity, that really doesn't matter anymore. Because we've got, that memorable meeting between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan in A New Hope, when they're finally on the Death Star and Vader says, when we last met, I was but the student and you were the teacher, and now I am the master. They did. I don't know what happened to
that really means.
But apparently there are going to be 3 confrontations between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi in this series, and we've seen 1 of 3 so far. So, canon is just a defunct movie company and something that you fire, cannonballs out of. Apparently, it doesn't apply to storytelling anymore. So yeah, I'm just ready to kick back and hang out and talk Star Wars. Oh my gosh, cameo appearance.
Cameo appearances.
Got genuine younglings in the house.
Genuine younglings in the house.
Don't let him get to your Vader.
They're gonna hack me up with a lightsaber when I'm not looking at night. That's all you guys. All right, that was Molly and Sam. Big fans of the show. It's actually finally our first Star Wars show that I know it's still kind of pushing it in terms of rating, but it's the first Star Wars show we've been able to watch together. They don't know, the Mandalorian. That's a little much to get into to kind of start up at a little bit. But as prequel fans, they know exactly who Ewan McGregor and Obi-Wan Kenobi is. So we've been watching the show together, and I tell you what, that makes it all worthwhile. So
cool. Yeah, whole new generation of fans, and we have David Fowlie of Keeping It Real back in the house. All right, you're still a little bit freezy and choppy, but we're gonna go with it.
He's encased in carbonite. We'll take it.
Yes,
carbonite.
Yes. Oh. It's Hoth David with podcast action.
He's in his Mustafar healing pod.
Ooh, that'd be Is that a back? What's the silly tank from Boba Fett called?
Back to tank.
Back to tank. Okay.
Back to the future. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So Elliott, I'm gonna start off with something that I like. I like synopses. Those make me happy. So, Elliott, tell me what this episode's about.
Well, we are catching up with Obi-Wan and Leia after they have escaped or narrowly escaped from the is she second sister or third sister? I forget which one is Reva. Where is she?
She's called third sister. Yeah,
third sister, and they're on that automated freighter to another planet. And of course, after that, they have to try to find transport back to civilization. And after that, well, of course, Vader and the Inquisitors are not far behind because they know where these ships are going. It's not like this automated freighter can change course on its own. So they knew where Obi-Wan would go, and then it's like The Fugitive, where Obi-Wan is Richard Kimball and Vader is Tommy Lee Jones. He's always just a step behind.
Check every outhouse, hen house.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got to tell you, and with the way they were playing this, I don't think I've even considering how brutal he was at the end of Rogue One. I don't think I've ever seen Vader more terrifying than he was in this particular episode. He was awesome. Vicious. He was like a combination. Like he had a little bit of the Mike Myers Halloween. He's like walking towards you, get that breathing, and he's just doing things. And I was like, it was pretty intense, those scenes that they had going on. I know even when Ewan McGregor talked about when he saw Hayden in the Vader costume for the first time, because he had never acted opposite Vader. Yeah. He said he was truly it scared him.
I was intimidated.
Yeah,
I was scared.
And it was really well done. And of course then you have the bit where Obi-Wan's still trying to get Leia back to back to her family, and it wasn't going to be that simple, No. And I've got to say, this little Leia character, I still call her character, she really grew on me in this particular episode. There's a scene where she's having the back and forth with Obi-Wan, but she drops this line, the line where she goes, "I didn't mean to run away. I didn't. It was something I always did. I didn't." Like essentially saying, "I'm sorry because of what I did. All this is happening right now." Like she recognizes that her little game of running away from her parents, had she just did what she was supposed to do, none of that would have happened. And
if only more kids were like that.
Yeah,
I don't remember. Was this before or after Obi-Wan said, "Don't say anything, I'll do the talking," and then she immediately runs down the road and hops on the bus and says, "Hey, look, we need a ride."
Yeah,
that's the one.
Come on, that's Leia.
Yeah.
But I found that interesting.
That's this incarnation of Leia. I'm still not seeing the connection between this and who Carrie Fisher grows up to be. Idiotic, like no sense of the actual danger that she's in.
She's a 10-year-old kid.
Yeah,
she grew up a part of a royal family, constantly surrounded by guards,
sheltered,
and probably made aware of the fact that she needed those guards for protection.
It's in the genes, bro.
Especially against an ascendant evil empire. She comes from a family of politicians who are dealing with space Nazis.
That's not in her genes.
Ian, have you met kids of privilege and the way they are?
Tell them, Elliott.
You saw what happened to all those idiot 20-year-olds at Firefest who've had people around them all along telling them, "You got to watch this, that." They're privileged. They don't know what the real world is like. And this is where
I just want to pull back and say that idiocy is not, exclusive to people of privilege. I've met plenty of, smart, wealthy kids. I don't know what this like broad brush thing of painting people is like one
2 weeks
thing.
in a row, man. 2 weeks in a row.
I'm just saying.
What?
10-year-old kid. You're expecting a 10-year-old kid to know what the world is like, especially. See, and I will say
I'm with Elliott.
Let me get on it. I got to get on my soapbox.
Get him.
Because this has been one of the things that kind of annoys me with a lot of fandom when they talk about Luke and Leia, and like they get on Luke all the time that, oh, you know, he's a whiner, you know, he wasn't as strong as Leia. Now, you know, Luke grew up friggin' like isolated from the rest of the world. He had very few friends. You know, the friends that he did have, he constantly lost. All the world was to him was he could imagine. And throughout his, you know, his call to adventure, he had to find out that the adventure that he imagined is way different than what actual adventure is. And to me, this is what I'm seeing with Leia. It's like she's learning right now that, you know, there's bad stuff out there. She's been sheltered from it. She's been protected. You can tell your kids all you want about how bad the world is and how there are bad people out there to get them, and how many times they go, yeah, right, mom, right, dad, whatever. It isn't until they actually have bad shit happen to them that they realize, oh God, I made a mistake. That's 10-year-olds, that's 9-year-olds, 8-year-olds. That's a constant thing. Doesn't matter what your background is. So I mean, to me, you know, she was just acting like a kid. And I loved that she said, I didn't mean to run away. That's when she realized, oh shit, I screwed up, which is beyond something you could expect from the average 10-year-old.
Beautiful. Perfect.
Speaking of which, I just kind of wish I like the young Leia, the what's the name of the girl they cast? Vivian Lee Smith or something like that?
Lyra Blair.
Okay. Yeah. So like she does a good job, but every Star Wars thing has to have like a cute little kid.
It's called marketing, demographics,
Mandalorian,
target audience.
We have Grogu or Baby Yoda. With the Bad Batch, we have Omega, and then with this show, we have young Leia. And at a certain point, it's like, this is great. I like the chemistry with her, blah blah blah, whatever. But I've seen this show, and I've seen it again like about 3 times now, and I kind of want to let Leia go. And I'm fine with Obi-Wan and Vader squaring on if they want to retcon it because, it drives up the numbers and the subscription counts. Hey, whatever. Okay. If it makes sense for the characters and it's dynamic, great. And so far it is, because you do have Obi-Wan dealing with his guilt and you're dealing with Vader's rage, which is uncontrollable. And Ewan McGregor has said in various interviews that in this show, you're really going to get the idea of how much Obi-Wan loves Anakin and how much he'll do anything for him in a way. And here you see this fear where he still doesn't want to hurt him, although he literally saw Darth Vader brutally snap a kid's neck moments ago, which I'm surprised Disney kept that in there, especially in the wake of last week's event, which I know last week I was like, oh, I don't know what you mean by recent events of Star Wars. And then I saw an article saying that. I'm like, okay, I'm dumb. It definitely kind of had, because they did put a warning there because the show opens with clone troopers shooting little kids.
Right.
6. But seeing how he's gonna maybe care for Vader, I want to see the dynamic, a drama between them. I mean, I would love to see something which we'll never get, but something like My Dinner with Andre, where Vader and Obi-Wan are talking to each other, and he's saying, "You did this to me." Well, that's because you.
We're gonna have heat too. Okay.
Well, yeah, no, just like a little exchange, like a 2-minute exchange.
I see the door and I'm out. You come after me.
Yeah.
30 seconds, I'm out. Yeah, great. Okay.
Well, Heat. Oh God, I don't know about Heat, but
yeah,
I would like to see. I'd love to see a Star Wars heist movie, but or show or something, whatever. It was something different, where we don't know the end results of all these characters. But
that's the nature of prequel stuff here, where like we're in foregone conclusion territory, and we were saying this in the chat here, where
which is why I don't mind. I know what's going to happen.
The suspense level is dialed down 2-3 notches for sure, always will be, but
yeah.
So why are we watching this show?
Because it's interesting seeing the dynamic and how these characters evolve and interact with each other. And honestly, it's fan service. Like, let's face it, we know it's fan service. It's going to be.
It's been fan service since 1980. I'm sorry, guys. Come on.
Exactly.
This is baked into
the Return of the Jedi.
Baked into the whole thing. Has to be.
Like,
you'd be doing it wrong if you didn't.
Star Wars started to become easy once they started using the Ewoks, and they're like, okay, we have a cute little thing, and they've been doing that ever since.
Ewoks.
So you're saying that none of the Star Wars content that we've seen in the last 42 years has been anything but fan service?
Yes.
Not quite.
They have an audience,
I mean,
and they
to an
serve
extent,
it.
if we want to say that, I
Period.
mean, we can argue fan service for everything.
Well, no, I mean,
can,
Don, you
make an
know
argument.
that fan service is a different thing than what you described.
No,
It's actually
it's
serving fans.
Nah, it's sliding scale. It is all fan service. It's to what severity and to what end. You know, if we're here just to screw around, like you said, to just kind of drop to things for the sake of dropping to things. Yeah, we sliding scale. All of it is fan service. I guarantee you, and I will go and die on that hill. But some of it is compelling because you're filling in a hole, or you're filling in a gap, or you're presenting something that's unique or different. And then some of it is absolute bullshit, just for the sake of doing bullshit and making money. This one, I don't know. I'll still be the guy that says it. 3 episodes in, it's too early to lay that scale on between, I'm trying to think what would be the best in terms of, I'm a Rogue One guy, where Rogue One, it's a suicide mission, but man, are you compelled to no end to keep watching that movie, where that one's close to the edge of like, wow, worth it. It's still fan service, but worth it. And then down here would be your fucking Christmas specials and shit. So I don't know where this one lands, but we're in the uncertain middle, and I'm okay with that.
I think it's like in the Rogue One wheelhouse, where you're
3
still
episodes ago,
dealing with elements of Obi-Wan that haven't been dealt with before, although they deal with it with various other Star Wars protagonists. I think we were complaining about this last week, how it's about someone who is down and out. They're at the bottom of their leash, and now they have to find a way to kind of go back up, rediscover who they are, which, I mean, yeah, that's a legit criticism. I think with Obi-Wan, we kind of know that's going to be the show, but I'm okay with that because it's substantive and it's backed through Kenobi's actual failures and through getting to see how he can change and not just rediscover himself, but maybe a new part of himself and become sort of more than just like, the old man in the Dune Sea who was hiding in a cave going, oh, I'm sad. I can't wait to train Luke. So it's nice to see maybe how throughout the years Obi sort of was able to kind of deal with that guilt and handle it, and how he had to change with it. Something called character development that I like.
Well, I mean, that assumes a lot. It assumes that we're going to move beyond season 1, because this is not a progression of Obi-Wan through the years. It's a long weekend in the life so far.
Right. Yeah, well, Star Wars is, and one problem
Weekend
I have. Here's why I'm lukewarm on this episode. Star Wars is very surface level, it seems now, and it can be better. And if you really go into, like, if you watch all the Clone Wars, it does go a little beyond surface level, if not too much beyond it. But Star Wars can go deeper. They can explore more things with the characters, but unfortunately, it's whiz and bang. They're not going to do that, and I feel sad knowing that. But it's just kind of like one of those things. It's like, I don't think it's going to get, unfortunately, much better than this.
Well, but that brings me back to my question. Why are we watching this show?
Because I love Ewan McGregor.
There you go. Yeah, you could. Some of that sliding scale for me is not just narrative and story, but execution. Like, do you do something do you take your story, whether it's benign or important, and do you do it well? And so far, so good. I don't mind the cat.
Well, I guess that
I don't mind Leia. I don't mind.
What do you mean? What do you mean by do it well? Because if we're talking about inconsistencies, in the story,
you talking about inconsistencies. Because and I'll take Elliott's stance here, where as much as one brain can manufacture inconsistencies and lay those at the feet of something, the rest of us can be like, well, reasonable doubt of just what would a 10-year-old kid think? Has she really heard his name is Obi-Wan Kenobi yet? Can this still be one encounter here and other things here? And the same brain that can make, I said it last week, the same brain that can make plot holes, and the same brain that can make theory answers, because we have the internet and we have YouTube and we all.
Well, I guess my question for you is, where do you draw the line? Like, when you watch movies, do you just automatically accept contradictions and plot holes and things because you're like, well, it's it's whatever, it's what it is.
It depends. It depends if it comes back to bite him or not. I'm trying to think of an example of one where it just really, tans my ass and reds me up. You got to come back to me on that one. But there are examples where it does, for sure. I can't say that it doesn't. It depends. Yeah, it's such a difficult thing. All right, I'll do one. Lee Daniels this is way off topic, but Lee Daniels is the butler.
So like,
supposedly based on a true story in terms of that Butler. But of course, they take their real steep dramatic licenses with it. The real Butler that they don't use the name for and have in the movie, he had children and all that. His children did not die in Vietnam. But that is the emotional peak of that movie, is that you have one of his sons die in Vietnam while, of course, he's serving at the White House. And it's a crusher of a thing that, to me, breaks a little bit of that rule to be manipulative. Like, if you're honoring this man and you're trying to tell the story, even though you're trying to kind of step back a little bit and dramatize it, how far can you go with that? That's too far or too much. And for me, that was one small example where, like, okay, that's too much, because now you're just emotionally manipulating us to feel for this guy. Because someday we're going to go to a junket or go to a thing where we're going to meet that guy and be like, man, I'm really sorry for your son. And be like, my son's fine. He made it through Vietnam. And it's just too much. We haven't got to that point yet with Obi-Wan where there's not babies out of bathwaters yet, or just, we haven't jumped a shark. We haven't jumped too big of a shark yet. We have, I'll grant now that there's the possibility of inconsistencies that you're talking about, but when you're talking about minds of 10-year-olds, they're benign. I can't, they're not self-destructive thermal detonators thrown into a room of things to die.
Well,
They're really petty things.
Some inconsistencies that we could be running into here. I know we have sort of the assumption that Princess Leia never met Obi-Wan, before she messaged him. And I always thought, well, maybe she did, because why else would she reach out to this guy she never has met before in her entire life?
Yeah.
For this dire mission? Maybe that examines.
I mean, well, here, like, do you remember everybody you met when you were 10 years old? I sure as shit don't. Sorry,
save me, but
there's a difference between meeting someone when you're 10 and being kidnapped and rescued by someone and hopping planets
in one hot weekend. I bet you remember the face of your 5th grade teacher, but you don't remember the face of your 5th grade field trip chaperone.
Well, that's
or
true.
The one guy who had or the one guy you had in
difference
assembly.
Between going on a field trip and being kidnapped, rescued by someone and planet hopping with them.
It's just so small.
But that's why I think she reached out to him. She remembered he rescued her, and
But she didn't mention that at all. She said, "Hey,
it's 40
well,
years."
That's because she didn't say "I knew you." Didn't mean that she.
Thank you.
Know him.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, they never got to meet again anyway. He sees her running towards the Falcon with her brother and calls it a day.
Yeah, and then he dies.
She continues the lie further and further. So, I'm just not there. I can't throw those things at this series' feet. At least not 3 episodes in.
We're halfway there.
If I've got a nitpick about continuity with this thing right now, and it's what's everyone's been bringing up on the internet already, is that the Reva skewers the Grand Inquisitor, and we know he's still alive in Rebels years later.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm waiting.
That I'll grant. That's one.
That means
he's coming back. He'll helicopter his way back.
It's a clone.
The real Grand Inquisitor will, which would be sweet. I want the real Grand Inquisitor with, like,
See, now you're back to nitpicks, but now we're at makeup. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, but that was a little ridiculous. They killed him and then they just.
It would look equally ridiculous with a big cone head too. So we're back to both.
Yeah, I mean, Star Wars kind of turned into a live action cartoon in a way.
That, and here we are.
Always
40
been
years of
a live action cartoon.
Exactly. Well, in a way, it has. Because Buck Rogers come to life, right? Mixed with Joseph Campbell.
Literally, Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
Guys, let's be honest. Remember when the only Star Wars you got on TV was the holiday special?
Thank you.
I mean, how it's like, why have we turned Star Wars into religion? Why are we debating movies like books of the Bible?
Preach.
Why can't we just enjoy entertainment? Why can't we just be entertained? We got Ewan McGregor doing an incredible performance right now. I'm enjoying it.
Incredible perforce.
Yes, he's been great.
Fantastic.
I mean, you can't cast
He is a
else
wonderful
right
actor,
now.
but I'm talking about on this show. He's giving, in your estimation, an incredible performance.
He is
considering the material.
That scene where he accidentally calls Leia,
Yeah,
and then he goes, "Oh shit, I'm gonna." Oh wait,
Mhm.
she reminds me of Leia was my wife. Sometimes I get confused. All that, and they're going. That was like such a moment. I'm like, oh man.
And then the moment after where he has to diffuse the "you knew my mom, didn't you?" and like,
yes,
he has to quelch up again. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Are you my father?
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you? Yes. I'm like, oh, those are moments I was not expecting from the show. I
I'd
was
be
like,
proud to be your father.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was the I would have missed banging your mom. That's truly what he said there.
When he says
that's the girl on Satine, Satine from Mandalore, he was banging.
And when he brings up that he had a brother, that he doesn't remember his family from when he was a child, that it was so long
really
ago.
nice.
I mean, that's stuff that you've never heard. Unless they talk about it in the EU books, they talk about it in the books. I've never read it in the comics. I haven't read it in any other. It's like to have him talk about that, to give that level to Obi-Wan. I've always wondered, what was it? Why is it that why is his name Obi-Wan of all things? Was it the name his family gave him, or was it the Jedi Order gave it? So there are all those little moments in there, and I'm like, I'm really digging this show because of that. And Ewan McGregor really is carrying it to me.
Well, I think it's more of the writing than the performances. I don't think it's amazing, but it's pretty good. But it's more the writing diverging into one particular line of dialogue in that sequence I really cared for is when he said, these Jedis, they take us as young kids and they raise us. And when he's explaining it, he's kind of saying, yeah, it's kind of fucked up that we do that. And I hope that they examine him questioning the Jedi Order. I'm going to say, you know what?
In this season,
fan service. I like fan service, and I don't like fanboy service, as Ian has said a long time ago. And that is, I want my Clone Wars flashbacks. I want to see how Anakin was a good guy, where Anakin and Obi-Wan are actually making jokes together. They have when they're doing an adventure with Rosario, and we see how that ties into the Ahsoka show. And of course, you have
that'd be ballsy
here with them, and that would be a great addition, which I think they're going to add, because we need to see the relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin more than what they did with the prequels. Because in the prequels, it was just a lot of Anakin whines at Obi-Wan, and then Obi-Wan tells him to calm down, and then they go on the next scene, and that's kind of it. And they do have some moments in the Clone Wars, but a lot of it is just sort of Obi-Wan being snarky. So I would like to see something in the past where there's some real chemistry behind these two, in their past, and how it connects to the present. Because the nice thing Obi-Wan's doing, it is adding a little more nuance, a little better writing than the prequels kind of had, if only slightly. Could it be better? Of course. But, for what I have, I'm okay. And, sometimes it's good to just find your balance in the Force and be okay with just okay.
The writing on this show is way ahead of the prequels, if you ask me. I mean, this show has emotion. It has actual emotion. The prequels had none of that. The acting already in this series is better than in the prequels. Ewan McGregor is a better Obi-Wan in this show than he was in the prequels. It's because he has better material. And I will agree with you. If poor Hayden Christensen is relegated just being David Prowse, and all you do is see him in the suit, but he doesn't really talk because you've got the artificial James Earl Jones voice talking, I'll be like, man, we made all this about Hayden Christensen coming back to play Darth Vader when essentially he was just being the suit at that point. Because he even talked about, I want to guess they got to have some Clone Wars flashbacks, as he said
I'd be okay with that.
He was watching he watched all of Clone Wars and studied up on Anakin to see what it was like. So there's got to be at least something in there, because
I think that tease is there because here we are seeing him in the rope. You know what I mean? Where it's a chance to get Hayden's face on camera, albeit at a very far away. But I'm with Mike. I think something's coming.
You watch. They're gonna greenlight a Vader series.
We'd be fine with that.
No,
who cares? Go ahead.
Why not?
More Star Wars.
Watch it.
Isn't this the Vader series?
It's all fan service.
Yeah, I just feel like less is more with a lot of these characters.
Well, that's true. But...
I definitely, I definitely was excited about this show. I like this show. I was not a big fan of the end of Rogue One with Vader. I just felt like it was just tacked on, and okay, now we're gonna give everybody what they wanted. Badass Vader. Let's go nuts. And I don't know. I didn't feel like I needed that. Because I feel like it's kind of like the overuse of Wolverine in Marvel Comics. It's like, okay, I don't need everything spelled out. Honestly, I didn't need the only thing I was excited about when they announced the prequels is like, oh, we get to see like Jedis. You know, I didn't want to
Yeah.
see like how I became Vader. It's like,
Mhm.
you know, that's the mystery. It's like how, okay, Anakin, you know, he was once friends with Obi-Wan, you know, and you know, from a certain point of view, that's all very interesting. It's like I didn't need it all spelled out. Am I glad we got the prequels? Yeah, sure, it's cool. You know, Elliott, I mean, you could always do better than George Lucas's dialogue. You could always do better than George Lucas's dialogue.
And
His story,
direction too, and direction because
you know, I mean, what is he?
He's a camera B camera.
What is he directing in the prequels? A lot of green screen. You know, a lot of. He's great at world building. He's great at characters. You know,
But like
character creation, character development, not so much. You know,
but even direction. Like take this episode today. That whole sequence when Vader shows up in the street, where Deborah Chow takes this scene, hushes it up, keeps it in the dark. Everyone kind of freezes on the street a little bit. You're like, wait, is he coming? You hear the breathing, you see the lights, and just that slow, methodical march down that street where you don't need a force sound effect, but you kind of know it's there. Where like, oh wait, he's gonna find himself there. He's gonna find him that way.
Well,
Obi-Wan, and then Obi-Wan shitting bricks, and then him just taking pieces of that family, tearing up the street one by one in a small way. The Inquisitors watching, the Stormtroopers watching, and for a movie that you're asking for a confrontation in action, when the best scene might as well be a Western walking down the street at you, man, that was Mandalorian levels solid. Oh my gosh!
How does Darth Vader not know how to walk around the corner from a fire? Because like when he set that,
or
like,
the security outpost with the
Kenobi,
walk around that too, you know,
shoots it. I'm just like, just go up and around the hill.
He could jump off a floting rock on Mustafar, but he can't jump. You know, I don't know. Maybe he's
still
getting used to his legs.
Lessons about
got a bad knee. Yeah.
He's got no knee.
Yeah, it's true.
Or he could have used the Force and like force pushed his like lightsaber and just like nicked Obi-Wan in the knee, so then he couldn't go anywhere. He's just like, all right.
Then we wouldn't have 3 more episodes, guys. I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah, exactly. They got to stretch out. He wants a proper duel, and he wants to torture Obi-Wan, which he's not going to get.
I mean, I really like the development of, you know, Obi-Wan is really he's at a low point, obviously, and he's out of touch with the Force. He's trying to get reconnected with the Force by continually reaching out to Qui-Gon, and you know we're gonna get Liam Neeson, because all this praying to Qui-Gon, please, meditating, you know, it's gonna pay off, you know, even if it's the last scene of episode 6 or whatever. But you know, there's a reason he's not connected. He's lost confidence. He has a lot of regret and guilt. And this show is kind of, I think by the end of this show, hopefully he's at a place where he's rebuilding his confidence. He's more at peace, so he can connect himself to the Force, the living Force. And that's what I like about this fight is, Vader could have just obliterated him. And he was, Obi-Wan is barely holding his own because he was not connected to the Force. He wasn't using any Force powers at all, and he was, just basically using his lightsaber, barely, and, so I like that approach is like, I have no choice but to turn this thing on. Let's see if I still have it, kind of thing. He barely spoke, during this fight. It was all Vader. And I'm sure there's a part of him that really didn't want to, duel with Vader because he saw him as Anakin. And what I appreciate about this episode is that I got the idea that at the end of the last episode, how he was kind of hiding from Reva and he was saying Anakin, it was almost like they were trying to make it seem like he didn't know that Anakin became Vader, but he went through the files and Revenge of the Sith and he saw that he became Lord Vader, right? So that's garbage. We know that he knows what Anakin has become. And we don't really know if this is the first time he's seen Vader. in all these 10 years. We don't.
They sure make it look like it, though.
They do.
He's definitely seen it for the first time.
Do. Yeah, they do. I'm sure he's wanted to stay as far away from Vader as possible because of his guilt of what he couldn't do. You know, Qui-Gon wanted him to become a Jedi, and the Jedi Council screwed that up. And even though Obi-Wan promised that he would train him to become a Jedi, that just didn't happen. And it's, you know, sure, mainly because of Anakin's anger and fear, but you know, the Jedi Council didn't help that much either. So, you know, so Obi-Wan feels this weight, this guilt. But I mean, for 10 years, I don't know. Again, like I said in the last episode, I'm wondering what he's been doing for these 10 years. You know, can't be just chopping up meat. But you know, hey, that's a job. I guess it has a good 401k. But you know,
hey, free samples, dude.
You know, I really like the difference between when like Vader, you know, senses something, you know, like in the original trilogy and even here, compared to Obi-Wan sensing something, even in A New Hope when Alderaan got blown to bits. It's painful, you know, and even here, it's almost like he's, you know, reeling over with a stomach ache. I mean, he feels this darkness come, and you know, I like that a lot, you know, and it does show that he still has some kind of a connection to the Force. It's just you know, like a bad internet connection like I have, but you know,
you call that the full circle, David. Well done.
That's right, full circle. Full circle, isn't that a line that Vader uses?
Sure.
The one thing that's really funny in this episode, unintentionally funny, is like, you should have killed me when you had the chance. Now, just go ahead and look up that on YouTube. They have a whole supercut. That is such an overused line in all of movies. Right? It's the equivalent. I mean, it's right up there with, you just don't get it, do you? Like, you should have killed me when you had the chance. How many people say that in movies? It's like, come on. I don't know. I kind of take issue with some of the dialogue in this show. It just seems like really
since we're in the room right now, we can obviously do better. Give me a line more effectively that line.
Or
now you'll win.
Yeah. Now's your chance.
It's gonna get cheesier. Right. It's gonna get cheesier and cheesier. You might as well be cut to the core.
You can't come up with a better line. No, that's just the thing.
It cuts to the core. It's a cliche for a reason.
Sure.
Elliott,
it's a cheap shot. I mean, you're asking, come up with a better line, write something better, right on the spot. I'm not saying these writers, these people who are in charge with the legacy of Star Wars. I know you guys don't really seem to care about that, right?
Come on now.
What?
Ian, you're in the writer's room right now. Give me that line, because you know, I'm going to tell you, I know for a fact they debated that line. They sat there and they wondered, what do we say here? What works? It's not like they throw stuff out willy-nilly. If you're in a writer's room, you sit there and you go, okay,
there's 5 writers on this episode too.
Right. 5. And out of 5 writers, they couldn't come up with anything better than a cliche.
There are 5 guys right here on the screen right now, and we can't.
I got nothing. I like that one.
No, but in the writer's room, there's no one sitting there with a stopwatch saying, we've got to come up with something right now.
But if you're saying right now it's a cliche, right? You've had all night to think about it. You've gone, man.
I haven't thought about it all night. You asked me the question right now.
I'm saying, if you're going to sit there, Mike has already said that it would have worked better for him if it was more like a dinner, my dinner with Andre. You're saying I would have preferred that Leia doesn't know that it's Ben, or why is it because she doesn't remember that it was 20 years ago that she was rescued by whatever. I'm saying, guys, you guys are debating this now. Tell me right now, boom. You can sit there and you can poke at it, but boom, give me that line. I think that's real easy. Give me that line.
Armchair quarterback it. It's like football. Hey, why didn't they run it to the left? You tried in the moment. Yeah,
so I'm just saying, if we're going to be pulling it apart like that.
Honestly, Don, there's a difference between playing in a football game. We were making decisions.
Oh my God! Smear all the apples and oranges you want. It goes back to the same nitpicks. Cliches work because that's why they work. They're cliches. It's just it cuts to the core. Says exactly what you needed to say.
I will say I kind of do miss the feeling we had, like if anyone remembers, right after Star Wars when Empire Strikes Back came out, audiences didn't love Empire right away because it was such a misdirection. Not just because of the plot twist.
Yep.
But it was totally different. Yeah.
I missed that, David. What?
It was totally.
He'll be back.
He'll bring a line too. I'm sure he will.
No, I remember when Empire came out. I remember fans being downright angry that Vader was Luke's father. How could that be? You're completely crapping all over what How could you can't say that Obi-Wan, that makes Obi-Wan a liar. How can that? It's the same thing all over again.
Where was the fan service then?
Well, not just that.
Same place it is now.
Like, fans weren't happy that it was so dark and sad and depressing and all that. And I'd say if they got rid of Leia, made this even darker or sadder, I'd love it. Just make it as dark and sad as possible.
Yeah, but the kid, the kid, like you said earlier yourself, the kid quotient is there because look who's running it and look how they run their shows.
It's to sell the toys.
Par for the course. Yeah.
It's to assure the little kids watching that everything's going to be okay.
And they're going to still give her some. 3 episodes to go. Like it's been compelling to have her. It will still be compelling in 3 episodes. Like it's not like she's arm candy. It's not like she's more Dakota Fanning and Man on Fire than she is just token damsel in distress.
Right. I just want it to be Obi-Wan and him. But no, I mean, I don't know. I just want to have a conversation where like Anakin's in Mustafar, he sees him in his back to bath, and then he's saying, "This is what you did to me."
We're gonna have a Rey and Kylo convo. The shirt optional. Okay.
Oh well, I mean, how does Darth Vader go to the bathroom? Is it in the tank?
He doesn't have to. It's all in the.
I guess he's robotic, so he doesn't have to eat anymore.
Catheters is his friend. Yeah.
Is it just like Ash when he goes out?
I don't know what he eats for. What kind of sandwiches mom makes him. Oh, I'm sorry. Doesn't have mom make him a sandwich.
Oh,
yeah.
Too soon.
He doesn't have a mom to make him a sandwich.
Can I have the chicken figures tonight, Mom? Oh, sorry, man.
Speaking of which, if anyone can Photoshop me, Anakin Skywalker, like burnt like a bucket of chicken with Ewan McGregor as like Colonel Sanders outside of it, like please give me that for my show.
Yeah, it's something to work for there. The meme lords will take care of you for you. Give it 24 hours. Give it 24 hours. Yeah. I'm guessing we have comments, huh, Ian?
Yeah, we do.
Unless he's going to spike our volleyballs down again.
Ian's never let me on the show again.
Well, no, I mean, honestly, this is the last episode of Obi-Watch Live. I appreciate you guys' perspective, but it's clear that, there's not going to be a productive conversation here. I'm trying to talk about this show as art, and you guys are talking about it as content. I can't have this conversation. So that's fine. It's just two different conversations to have here. So
we're still talking about art. We're talking about how they set together scenes. We're talking about how they convey moments. We're talking about direction. Elliott's there. I'm there. Mike's there. I'm
talking about on a fundamental kind of storytelling level, carrying on the legacy of Star Wars. And you guys are telling me, oh, you're nitpicking and this and that and that. I want to have a serious conversation here, but I'm getting shut down at every turn. So it's not productive. It's not helpful. It's not even fun. I mean, I was having fun at the beginning of this episode, but that's fine. You guys can have the conversation on your own shows. That's fine. But this is it. So we made it 2 episodes of the live stream, and I appreciate that. Right. So, and I appreciate everybody hanging out and commenting, but this was Obi-Watch Live. David left us. I think his internet connection noped down on him. And I'm Ian Simmons. Mike Crowley of YPA Reviews, Elliott Serrano of MC REVU, Don Shanahan of 25 Years Later, and Mike Crowley of 25 Years Later, Don Shanahan of Every Movie Has a Lesson, and Cinephile Hissy Fit Podcast. Thank you all for watching. I'll still check out the rest of Obi-Wan, but look for my comments. You have to get into my head to find them out because I'm not going to put them up anywhere. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.